For this review, we will attempt to explain to you what Dhyana is and what we can learn in this course. Now, Dhyana is a state, and the definition of a state in yoga is beyond techniques. You cannot technically truly teach anyone to be in a meditative state, but you can teach a technique that brings the person to a meditative state. And if you look at the whole structure and science of yoga, the first four we can see. The first four is the yama and niyama, the way we are, the cleanliness, the non-violence. And then you have yama, niyama, and then third limb is the asanas, the posture. I can see which posture you are. And the exercises that we do, all those are part of the third limb. Can be seen, can be corrected. You can coach a person. And then the fourth limb is what? All of you are yoga practitioners. That? Pranayama. Pranayama I can see. If you do Bhastrika or Nadi Sodhana or Sitrali, Sitkari, we can see, we can correct, we can coach, we can be coached. And then the fifth one, talking about the 8 limbs of yoga, the Ashtanga yoga, the fifth one will be Pratyahara. Pratyahara means relaxation or withdrawal of senses. When someone is seated and they are doing Pratyahara, if the Pratyahara goes beyond the ability to control the conscious awareness or the physical aspects of our body, then you can see that the first signs will be. Okay? So, can we correct them in Pratyahara? Of course you can, because you can see that they are going into a deeper state of rest. Some moving into even sleep within the shortest period of time, even though a person is seated. Can we call that as meditation? It's not meditation. It is withdrawal of the senses, pratyahara. And many teachers and many practitioners have also honestly said that most of the time they think they are meditating, but actually they are resting. So the new awareness or the awareness that has been taking place over the last 30 years when meditation became a bit popular was that meditation is restfulness. But it is not. It is beyond that. It is in fact a state of full awakening, fully awake. Not even close to a state of rest. But it gives the ultimate rest to consciousness. What are we trying to rest in our life? Are we trying to rest our body? Are we trying to rest our physiology or anatomy? We are not so sure. And sometimes we think that we are rested, but we feel so groggy and a bit moody because of the inability to have a full rest. So you can see that the whole momentum towards self-realization has shifted to just finding ways to rest. But yoga has this system of rectifying all these simple issues in life, inability to sleep, the pain management, emotional management, all this is being rectified by yoga. Then comes a time, what else after this? What else after all these asanas, after all these pranayama, after all these cleansing techniques, what else am I going to look for? And that's when yoga brings in Dhyana, or the state of meditation. Right? And meditation being a very creative system, a very creative state, can never be understood. You can never understand creativity, right? If you say that this is creativity, that I understand creativity, then that is the end of it. Creativity has always to flow. There can never be a similar state in creativity. Which means technically, if you have achieved a state of meditation, then the next time when you sit for it, it will not be there. Because it's a creative state. It will be something different. All the time you sit, it will be different. If you sit 364 days, is it 1 year? 65 or 64? Okay, 65. Then that 365 days, it will be a different experience. If you sit in a year, maybe 1000 times. So which means what? In a year you have 1000 days? What? Just now I said, a year you have 365. Then now I am saying 1000. How? 3 times a day. Alright? If you sit 3 times a day, then every sitting there will be a different experience. And it is an experience which you feel very comfortable with. Something which you will yearn for because it is totally different from the previous one. So that's how meditation is supposed to be. Meditation is not rest. Meditation is something more remarkable, much more remarkable than sleep and rest. It's something which is very enticing. Something which is extremely attractive. Something which is so beautiful that you can never ever capture the essence of that beauty. Okay, that's a little bit of introduction. So before I get carried away, I will focus on what we want to tell you from the slides. So meditation is a process in how techniques where we can employ in order to increase our mind power. Everybody needs to increase their mind power. Correct? Every single person, from a child right up to the person who is retired. And even after retirement, they still need to have mind power, especially to deal with their grandchildren who keep on asking more and more complex questions. Right? So when we talk about the mind power, we are actually talking about all these different aspects of the mind, which are like cognitive abilities, intelligence, paranormal mind powers, creativity, talents, way of thinking, consciousness, intuition. This constitute the power of the mind. So the major problem investigated by the yogis, people who study social behavior and psychologies is that we want to, all of us want to increase our mind power. We all acknowledge that we are using very little part of the consciousness. We all acknowledge this, but we are unable to capture the essence of awakening the mind power due to just one reason. What is that reason? Lack of discipline. That's the major crisis that you and I have. The lack of discipline. And will meditation cure this lack of discipline? We hope so. We should be very positive. Meditation increases your mind power. Now, what is Dhyana? When all the senses are stilled, when the mind is at rest, when the intellect does not move, then the higher state of consciousness is known. Now, why would you want to still your senses? All of you are happy with your senses, correct? Happy with the sense of sight, happy with the sense of smell, happy with the sense of touch, happy with the sense of taste, and happy with the sense of hearing. All of you are happy. Now, why you want to still the senses? Occasionally you want to still it, not all the time. Right? If all the time, then you can't function. Occasionally we need to still the senses. Are we doing anything to still the senses now? We think we are stilling them when we sleep. We think. Alright? But if you study the full capacity of the mechanism to rest the senses, sleep is not doing its work. That's the reason why when we get up in the morning, we still want to sleep another 5 minutes. Correct? And after 5 minutes, another 10 minutes, and another until your husband or wife, hey, come on, it's going late, traffic jam. And you drag yourself to take a bath, and then after that, the whole day is in this momentum of not having enough rest. And it overflows to the work environment. And you can see in your office, correct? In your office, When your colleagues come to the office, they're all full of energy. Hey, today is a nice day, I'm full of energy. Or let's have fun. Do they come like this? Good morning. See the boss, hey, good morning. Others are morning. There's the internet. After lunch also, very difficult to wake up. Because the senses have not had enough rest. So meditation gives us this technology of what is called as superior pratyahara. Pratyahara in the sense withdrawal is the fifth stage. But ultimate pratyahara or the ultimate withdrawal of the senses can only take place in meditation. Calmness of the senses and the mind has been defined as yoga. So yoga in the higher definition is this: calmness of the or stillness of the senses and the mind. And yoga in Patanjali Patanjali says that yoga is chitta vritti nirodha. Chitta, mind, vritti, the movement of the mind, and nirodha means capturing it, dissolving it. Stillness, absolute stillness. And this dissolution of the chitta, dissolution of the vritti or the waves of the mind is not emptying the mind. It's not emptying the mind, because underneath all these bubbles of thoughts is pure consciousness, which means in reality there is no such thing as emptying the mind. It is actually awakening the full mind and exploring the full potential, minus the distractions from the thought waves. These are all distracting because they are reflective action. And most of the time when we are in life, when we are in work and in leading our lives, social lives, family lives, it's purely based on some form of programming. We react according to our past programming. All the time. 99% of our life is reaction based, because the mind is not able to touch base with the purest creative state. So if we have that kind of awakening, where the senses are calm and the mind is also calm, and then that is known as yoga. And who attains this, one who attains this is freed from delusions. Then ignorance or vidya disappears, and one is known as enlightened.